In this video, we're going to talk about how to get a credit card company, or really any company that you have unsecured debt with, to potentially file a 1099-C cancellation of debt. A 1099-C cancellation of debt is where the company or charged off account, and the company decides that they're not going to send it to collection, they're not going to sell it, they're going to send that form. If it's over $600, they can, which most of them will, they will send it to the IRS and have it reported as income to you. And you do not have to always pay taxes on that. I've never ran across any client, business or client, that had a credit card company forgive the debt and put it on their personal taxes, have to pay, because there is a waiver form that usually can just drown out and cancel out that additional income that you have, that they would consider that you had, even though it was from the credit card company. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk through the steps, step by step, from the way that we've been able to achieve it, so it can help you be able to do it. And I'm going to be very clear on how you can get this done, but also up front, I want to be very clear about that you cannot force a company to do a 1099-C. This is not something where you fill out a form in 1099-C form and you send it to the company and they're supposed to discharge your debt. That is not the way it works. All of those other videos that are claiming that, they are wrong and they're misleading people. And that gets into what I'm going to talk about right now before we get to this. Stick with me on this video. Stick with me on this video. Wake up your mind. Put your cell phone down if you're not watching it on your cell phone, and pay attention to me. Because what I'm about to tell you is very important. This is gonna potentially change some of the people's lives that is watching this video, because what I'm about to tell you is going to help you in all aspects of your life, not just with your credit and your debt. So I want to ask you a quick question. And this is, in any question that I ask you, I've asked it of myself. So this isn't something where I'm trying to preach to you to tell you, oh, you're not worthy, or you are beneath me, or you don't know, you're ignorant and all of that. No, these are things that I've done to make changes in my life. And these little simple things that will probably pass over a lot of people's head because they think it's so simple, or they just may not even believe it. They may say, well, Steve, that just doesn't sound right, doesn't sound crazy. I'm going to talk about who are you arguing with? And the reason why I want to say it that way is, I was on a conference call, or on a call with I think she was a YouTube subscriber, not a client of ours. And while I was talking to her, it got to be like a back and forth. And something came to my mind that reminded me of me when I was younger in the past. In the past, when I became aware of this, I stopped arguing with myself. Now, let me clarify what that means. And this has a lot to do with why a lot of you are potentially in trouble with your credit and debt, is because there is always different sides of us. There is a side of you who the way that you deal with your kids. There's a personality or person of you that when you deal with your parents, if they're still alive, or that you deal with your boss, or that you deal with your friends, anyone. There's different sides to us. So if we can acknowledge that, then if I ask you this question, why are you in trouble with debt? And you say, okay, Steve, this is why I'm in trouble. I've done this, I've done that. Or maybe you won't even take the blame for it. Maybe you just think it just happened to you. Whatever the reason is, listen to me, whatever the reason is, whatever that reason is, can you stand in that reason? And if you cannot stand in that reason to say that this was part of you, then the part of you that is trying to get out of trouble is going to be in a constant argument with that you, with that version of you. So let me be clear. I'm asking you right now, why are you in your situation? Tell me, say it to yourself, because this is going to really awaken you that some of the times when you're talking to yourself, you're actually talking to who you want to be and who you are at that moment, or who you want to be and who you were when you got into that trouble. And those two personalities, those two yous clash. And the problem is that when those two clash, you don't have any direction in your life, because you're thinking, well, I did that. You don't say it, express it that way, but you know that that's you. I did this. I got myself into this. I want to get out of this. But this person here, that's you, you don't know how to get out of the trouble that this side of you got you into. And when you start to look at solutions like what I'm about to show you here, and I run into this even with credit and with helping people when they're being sued in court, is that really I can pull myself back out of the conversation. That's what happened with the young lady, is that I could just stop talking. And it was like she was talking to herself and another person of herself, because she was talking about what she wanted. But then she would go back to, it ain't gonna work. Woe is me. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. So I just stopped talking. And I could just see she was going back and forth. And I said, I don't know if you're aware of this. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you are talking yourself out of helping yourself. She didn't even understand when I said it to her. She was like, no, I'm not. I'm just going back and forth. When you're going back and forth and you don't know the solution to something, listen to me. Listen to me closely. When you're going back and forth with yourself and you do not know the solution, even if the solution is presented to you on paper, you are arguing with yourself and you're trying to justify a reason to talk yourself out of trying. Or you may try a little bit. Now, let me give you an analogy of something that we've all done. I'm pretty sure that a friend, family member, co-worker, someone that you know, you've given advice and you said, this is the way that you should take care of this. I've went through it. And this is what you should do. And they did not take your advice. The reason why they didn't take your advice is because they're in conflict with themselves. One side is talking them out of it, and one side is trying to get somewhere to make that change. But the problem is that the person, the side of the individual who got all the trouble, who has got the credit card debt, who has done everything, that side of that person knows everything that could happen. They know that they messed up. They know that how much the debt is. They know all of it. The person on this side that is desiring to get out of trouble knows absolutely nothing, and everything that they don't know if it'll work. They don't know most of the things that it's going to take. And even if they read a book, they get it presented to them on paper. Follow this, this, and this, like what I'm going to tell you right here. They don't know if it's going to work. And that person is going to have to take a leap of faith with everything that they do. And I'm going to tell you, this is from experience. This is straight from here. You cannot move forward with 1 foot this direction and 1 foot the other direction. And when you have your mind focused on what it was, and you're trying to have your mind focused on what you want it to be, if you're not careful, the other side of what it was is going to always win. That's why most people fail at making changes in their life, because no matter what is presented to them, they are not willing to follow through. And that's going to get me into the second part of what she said in the conversation. She said, what is the guarantee? This was to help with a court case. What is the guarantee? And I said to her that there is no guarantees. And that, as a matter of fact, this is the way I look at it for guarantees. If you get all of the facts of something on what is supposed to be done for you, on whatever it is, and then the other part of the guarantee needs to be is, what are you guaranteed to do? Are you guaranteed to just sit back and don't make any changes to you and your mindset and to make changes in your life? Because when you are having things worked on for you, you also need to work on yourself, or you won't even see the change. You won't even see the benefits. You won't even see the result. And I'll give you an example of the recent 1099-C cancellation of debt for a client for $11,000 with the Discover card. $11,000. This client still has no idea. I just say it's an idea or consciousness of the benefit of what happened. Because what that client did is they went into the woe is me side and started thinking, okay, I gotta now fill out the form to get the waiver so they won't add it as income to me. You were facing a lawsuit from Discover Card for $11,000 and some change. They were going to sue you. They were going to get a judgment against you. Hardship was submitted to them. They decided internally to forgive, discharge the debt, $11,000 and some change. Give you a 1099-C. Send the 1099-C to the IRS for $11,000 to be considered as income to you. You are presented, this is the form that you fill out, so that will not go as income to you. But let me tell you the reason why that person cannot understand is because they are arguing with their old self. If you don't change, you can't see change. That's why two people can see the same thing, and one person sees it one way and one person sees it another way, and some of the times one of the people won't even be able to see it. All right, let's get into it right now. A 1099-C is where a creditor can choose, it is of their choice, to forgive a debt based off of information, or not information, based off of experience from dealing with our clients. This is the way that, or this is how 1099-Cs are being distributed by creditors. It is not where you can force a creditor to do it. You cannot force them to do it. And everything that I tell you here with the credit repair shop about stuff like this is stuff that we've actually done, not where I've watched someone else's video or saw some theory about it and then decided to make a video about it. This is real stuff. You can go to my website and you can see 1099-Cs as they came in, and they are posted on there. So you cannot force a company to give you a 1099-C. And I want to be clear on that, because even though I've said it over and over in my videos, I still get people who think that you can force a company to file a 1099-C. And before I continue here, one last thing. So you may be saying, Steve, okay, if I'm arguing with my old self, I know what I desire, so the part of me who is desiring to get this debt canceled, who's desiring to repair my credit, who's desiring to change my life, how can that person move forward if there's no guarantees, if there's they don't know what it looks like or what it's going to feel like? It's just where I desire. And that's where you get factual information. You get factual information. Now, we live in a crazy time right now, because there was a time where information was not as readily available at your fingertips. You had to go and get that information. And the places that you had to go to get that information, people had to put that in print. And because it was a little bit more difficult to put something in print, you had less amounts of fake information or inaccurate information that was being distributed. Because the internet came about, and you have YouTube, and you have all of these different platforms, websites, blogs, podcasts, all of this stuff, bad information can easily go out, because the individuals who make the bad information, they don't have to pay nothing. They just have to pay with their time to put it on there. They have a cell phone or camera, microphone, stick it on there, all done, and it's posted up. And so now what's happened is we think that all that information at our fingertips is accurate. And even if we don't think it's accurate, we don't know, because when you watch this video, you watch that video, you watch another one, you get confused. And because this part of you is only a desire part, does not know what will work, what won't work, and because some of the times you do have to go on faith to get to where you want to be, it makes it very confusing. And that's why that other side of you that got into all that trouble wins the argument like 99.9% of the time. And very few people ever get to where they want to be in their life. These are just the numbers. 1% of the people in the United States is rich. 1%. 3% well off. 3% of the people well off, and of that 5%, they're pretty much taken care of. But all of the rest is day to day. All of the rest, millions of Americans are day to day. And if there's all this information out there, all of these different things that you can utilize, what is the problem? The problem is that the information is not accurate. The information is incorrect. So that's why I stand on everything that I put on my channel has been tested, has been either by myself, I've experienced it, or clients have experienced it. And if I speak on something, I've looked at what has happened. And what has happened when people did these 1099-Cs and they sent them to companies, they either got disregarded, or if the account was taken off, it was only going to be put back on because of the when they did their accounting records, and they've never taken them off when someone filed a 1099-C telling the company to discharge. It never happened. And all of this other stuff about making promissory notes and all that stuff don't work. It just does not work. And I'm not getting into how our money system works, because there's some truth in what they say, but that is not the way that our money system circulates. So now let's get into it. To get a 1099-C cancellation of debt, this is step one that you have to do. Is that step one, if you don't have step one, you don't go past. You don't go past. And I'm gonna give you an option if you don't have step one. So step one is you gotta have a provable financial and medical hardship. And that financial, to even enhance that more, is that you're on disability. And a little nugget, if you're on disability and you're being sued by a credit card company, you can notify the attorney that you're on disability. You can even send them a disability report, and they will usually 9 times out of 10 stop the lawsuit. And then that would automatically potentially get the creditor to do a 1099-C just off that information without you even having to make a hardship letter. Now, the next step is that you have to create a hardship letter. Now, this is what they're going to be looking for. This is what they're going to be looking for in that letter, is that they're going to want the account number. And I'm putting this plus because this is what will equal a letter. So they want that account number plus who you are, plus why you can't pay them, and plus they want proof. And when you do that, you're going to have a complete letter. They don't want a sob story. They just want to know account, who you are, why you can't pay, proof. If you put that up here, I have financial issues due to a medical hardship, or I'm on disability now. For whatever that reason is, you show them proof. You're going to get that hardship. Number 3, get the hardship debt mailing address. Or you may have to send it to the billing department. No matter what, you want to get it on record. You can send that certified mail so you can make sure that they got it. That's not going to make too much of a difference, but you can do that to add an extra step. So you get their hardship mailing address. Sometimes they won't get it to you, so you're just going to have to get that there. You can even send it to their legal department, and the legal department will make sure that it gets to the appropriate department. Number 4 is you're going to wait for a response. You're going to wait for a response. And this is where you got to keep in mind that you're not the only person that they're dealing with for hardship. You're not the only person that they're dealing with as a client, period. You trust me, we are not that special to them, even though they send us these letters and stuff, and you qualified for this and all that when the account was good. But you're not that special to them. We are not that special to them. We are just a number, a client, an account number with a name attached to it. That's who we are. And as soon as we stop making payments, we get thrown into another bucket of people who didn't make payments. There's nothing special. As a matter of fact, if you stop making payments to them, you go down on their favorability list. So now, number 5, you respond to what they send you. They may send you the letter like I put in the video earlier in the week, where they just say, after reviewing your situation, we're going to do a 1099-C, or we're going to cease collection. And if it's over $600, they're going to send that to the IRS to have it reported as income to you. Another thing that you need to understand about number 5 is when you respond to what they say, they may send you documents that require you to put everything that you put in your letter on their documents. This is they have a right to do this because they're going to file it and put it in their computer system with their own documentation. They don't have to accept your document, your letter the way that it is. You can attach it, but they're going to probably want it on a document. There was a gentleman who lost a lawsuit solely based off of he did not fill out the ID theft form of the company. If you go to the CFPB website, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, you will see that they have a section for all of the companies who do loans. There's a section. It's a very hard spot to find, but you can find it. And it has the forms that the creditors updated to the CFPB for approval, and it said that if there's any disputes or anything that goes wrong where our customers deal with us, we are letting you know that we want it done on that form. And the CFPB approves it and says, okay, if there's ID theft, it needs to be on your form or you can disregard it. If there's an issue with something like a 1099-C and someone fills it out and you send them the form and say, okay, we hear you, but we want you to fill it out on our form, and if you don't do it, they can disregard it. They can disregard it. And I've had an individual where he got emailed the form. It was with Green Sky, I believe. Someone had used his name and got an account with Lowe's or one of those companies, and it was not him. And they sent it in the email and they said, okay, it's not you, and we even know it's not you, but you need to fill out our form. We got your dispute. We got your ID theft form that you filled out yourself from the FTC website, the ID theft kit that they provide. And they said, okay, that's well and good. We put it on record. We believe that it's not you, but you got to fill out this form. And when he didn't fill out that form, guess what? It did not get changed. They left that information in his name. They have a right to do that with the company. That goes to getting factual information. Remember, I said about that person who desires, and that person who desires doesn't know. But there's all this inaccurate information out there from people who have not really worked in this type of stuff. I'm telling you, from factual information, from personal experience or experience with my clients, is that some of the companies will require you to fill out all of that stuff on their forms. And you cannot get upset about doing it. If you get upset about doing it, then you're arguing with your old self. You're talking yourself out of the possibilities of the relief or the benefit that you're going to get. The next thing is you got to follow up. There may be continuous follow-ups. From experience, when there's this continuous follow-up, is they want to just make sure that you're not lying. They just want to make sure that you're not lying. They want extra time to verify the documents that you sent them, and then they're going to say, okay, this is right. Or it could just be the individual that has a sign off on them, maybe got a big stack. Maybe there's like 2,000 of them. Maybe it could be. Because you got to remember, this individual who's going to sign off on your debt, like that $11,000, that Discover card, we were expecting that $11,000. Imagine that you're the person, like, okay, this is you. I owe you $11,000, and I give you my hardship, and you say, okay, Steve, I'm going to accept it. You don't have to pay the $11,000. And then here you're going to look at it, and you're going to be like, I want to make sure. And then maybe you have an employee that's in the middle of there. That employee is not going to sign off for you. That employee is going to be like, hey, you need to sign on here, and you're going to read it, and you want to make sure, like, did you check this about what he said? Did you check that? Are you sure? Are you sure? And that employee that's in the middle, I don't want to lose my job. I want to double check this stuff and then get it back over for you to sign. And then if you are just like the middle manager and you got to get it up to someone else because you're about to sign off on $11,000 not being paid. You're about to forgive Steve's $11,000. So we always tend to think about it from our side right here, but we never think about it from this side here. Someone has to sign off on $11,000. That $11,000, just when they sign off on it, it is not gone to them. I'm pretty sure you've seen TV reports where they'll say credit card deficiencies or credit card collections, charge-offs are either up or down. Well, that up or down, somebody is signing off on that up or down. Somebody's signing off on it, and you better bet shareholders and presidents of companies and people get held accountable for that. Why are these being signed off on? Did we go at them to get that money? Do we know that these people are not just getting these credit cards and lying? So there's a lot that goes on with it. It's not just signing off on something when they accept it. And then the last thing right here, number 7, which I've already talked about, but you better get your mindset right. If you're going to make a change in your life, you better get your mindset right. Because if you don't get your mindset right, even when the good happens to you, you won't even recognize it. And then even if you recognize it and your mindset isn't right, you're going to be right back into that situation for the old you. Remember, when you get what you desire and you was that individual who got into trouble, that individual who got you into trouble does not disappear. That is always a part of us. That is always a part of us. And if you're not careful, you can easily slip right back into trouble. So number 7, with anything that you do, that we do for you with a company, anything that you do moving forward in your life, with any other changes that you make, you better work on your mindset. You work on your mindset. You work on your mindset so you can make real change, so you can have that new you be so much overwhelming in knowledge, in experience, in faith, in everything that you do, that even if that old you peaks up and says, let's get into trouble again. Let's go get 10 credit cards. Let's sign up for a credit card when we go to the clothing store, to the Gap or Macy's or TJ Maxx, when they offer you to get that card so you can save 20% or 50%. No, that's the old you. The new you understands from experience, and it's always top of mind. No, I don't want to do that. The decisions I make for me and my family with credit and debt moving forward are going to always be thoroughly thought through. And if we want to make it even simpler, any decisions that you make, you base it like a business financially. And you better make sure that you have, if you're going to buy something, that you know you can afford it without making any disruption with your family. If you can do that, you can get whatever you want. Because I believe that we are here to enjoy life and have the things, good things. You're not put on this planet to struggle. But because the way that we're put on this planet, we really are not used to thriving, we're used to surviving. You know everything about survival. You know very little about thriving. You know the word, you know what other people are doing, you know what you've tried to do, but all of us, no one is immune to this. It's just that people vibrate on different levels. Depending on the level that you vibrate on is going to be dependent on when you try to do something for yourself, that you don't sit and mull and wonder so much about what's guaranteed to you. You think about what you're going to guarantee, what you're going to do. Because if you work on your mind, your mindset is the guarantee. I will say from experience with myself, experience with dealing with clients, is that when a client changes their mindset, and some people call it miracles, but when a client changes their mindset and is combined with the work that we do, some people say it's miracles, I call it work, but it's because the vibration of that individual has met where the work that they desired, where what they desired, those two meet. And even if last night I was on a call with a client that is very wealthy, a lot of money, $1 million home, credit scores are low. And me and my staff were trying to figure stuff out. But there was something, he has no negative credit other than one thing. And when that one thing, because when you have good credit and you make one mistake, it's like you're penalized like individuals who have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mistakes. And there's other things that you got to watch out for when you have good credit that can make your score fluctuate. Like overutilizing your credit cards and not paying them down by the statement date, not just by the due date, the statement date. Because when that statement hits, they're going to put that as a balance that you have in debt. And if it's not under 30%, it's going to reflect with the credit algorithm and make your scores go down. But there were some other things that were going on. But there was something different about the conversation. The conversation was, what can I do more? And I felt this, and I knew that this was going to be that type of conversation, because a person does not have millions of dollars if they are not of the mindset of understanding that the door is always open, that the door is never closed. So that means that they take responsibility that they're doing something wrong, not us as a company doing something wrong, but they come to us as the company to say, what am I doing wrong? I'm listening to you. Can you look at it? And we looked at it and we said, this is what we see with what's wrong. And then that individual takes full responsibility and start the corrective actions. And then we assist with those corrective actions with dealing with the bureaus or any furniture from what we saw. The door is always open. The door is never closed. But if you argue constantly with that old you and only guarantee that you say to yourself is, what do they guarantee, not what do I guarantee? And the only way that you can listen to a guarantee is if you understand and don't argue back and forth with what you don't understand. So let me clarify again. If you're trying to repair your credit and you do not understand what needs to be done, factually, you may have seen videos and saw what other people did, all these gimmicks and stuff that just gets people into trouble. You don't factually know what has to be done. You will constantly argue with yourself. You could take us out of the conversation and you and your old self will argue because your old self got you in trouble and don't think nothing will work. And the new you, the desire you, doesn't know what to do, how it feels like, doesn't know anything. It just looks for a guarantee. And the reason why it only looks for a guarantee is because that's the only thing that you can latch on and you understand in the English language, guarantee. That's all you understand. And you never say, well, am I going to guarantee that I don't let the old me come back up and ruin what I'm trying to desire? That's just the way it is. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. That's the way we repair credit. That's the way that we repair credit. If you cannot follow that, please choose another credit repair company. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website, your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports, and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters. Statute of limitations letter for debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect. Debt validation letter and cease and desist collection activities letter. Now, let me be more specific about the way that you use these. If you're being sued by a debt collector, these are not the letters that you want to use. You want to go to the link that has the court response, summons response. That's what you need. I've had some people use that and they were like, well, they just disregarded me and still took me to court. Yes, they're going to, if you have a summons and you don't respond to the summons, even if you do a debt validation, they're going to just send you some stuff and still go to court because you did not answer what the way the court wanted you to answer the court summons. The statute of limitations letter for debt is past legal statute of limitations to collect. And you can look at that on my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Go to the bottom, click the blog, and you will be able to type in statute and you'll see the statute of limitations for all 50 states. If it's past the legal statute of limitations, you do not have to do a debt validation. You just have to notify them and do it with certified mail that they are attempting to collect a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, and you have no obligation to pay them. You want them to cease and desist all collection activities. They may say, well, you have a moral obligation. You don't have a moral obligation unless you believe that way, that you have a moral obligation to pay them. And if you do, I welcome you to go ahead and pay them or make a deal or settlement or whatever that is. If it is not past the legal statute of limitations to collect, regardless if it's an original creditor or a debt collector, you could do a debt validation if it's with both. But if it's an original creditor, get ready. I'm telling you right now, factually, get ready to start talking about a settlement. If it's a debt collection company, if they don't have all of the appropriate documentation, that debt will go away. If they have the appropriate documentation, get ready for settlement. Just being straight up for you. All right. I do ask for a donation on those if you feel it, that because it can save you time, money, and a lot of frustration.